I can't take it anymore. I have to post something else. I was saving my last 2 posts for Project Playtime, but apparently it ain't dropping. If Project Playtime does release in the next 2-ish hours or so, or whenever the hell, let me know in the comments down below if you guys want me to live stream it regardless of the time. Also, make sure you guys subscribe and hit that like button, comment down below. Alright, today we're reacting to Game Theory, You're Being Lied to, Bendy and the Dark Revival. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to Game Theorist, and comment down below. I also played Bendy and the Dark Revival on my channel if you guys want to check it out yourselves. Anyway, let's get into this bop.
Joey.
Alright. Bro, Game Theory always got the nice animations for their beginning of the videos.
These monsters.
Never mind. There's a little story you need.
It's the same voice.
You ready?
Oh.
Here we go.
Actually, it came from the game.
Internet, welcome to Game Theory.
And for you people that always skip the video or the beginning of the video, I have to say it. I'm gonna make a live stream of Project Playtime if it comes out around midnight-ish or so. So make sure you guys subscribe if you have not, and turn on all notifications. That's pretty much what I said. And check out my Bendy and the Dark Revival Let's Play if you haven't. Because I know people like to skip my beginnings, like I don't have nothing important to say, but I do.
Was built for revenge or regret. I don't know. That's my riddle to solve.
No, Joey, let's be honest, it's my riddle to solve.
Uh-oh.
It's mine to solve. Today we're diving back into the
Let's see Matt Pat's next spiral into madness.
And their newest game, Bendy and the Dark Revival. If you're unfamiliar with the franchise, honestly, I can't really blame you. It's been 5 long years since the world was.
Has it really been 5 years?
Well, sure, there was a mobile game, a short prequel title called Boris and the Dark Survival, and of course the requisite handful of spin-off books released in the interview.
I didn't even know there was books.
Nothing
I didn't even know The
really
Illusion of Living was an
captured
actual
everyone's
book
attention.
in
It
real
looked like
life
the
now.
franchise was drowning in its own inky grave, which is why the trailer dropped for an official sequel releasing in just a few weeks caught everyone off guard. And that wasn't enough. They then decided to catch everyone off guard again by releasing a game that was really long, really solid, and most
4 to 5
importantly,
hours.
really stable. Which, let's be honest, considering the quality of game releases these days, Pokemon Violet is already putting it in contention.
The
for
shade.
Game of the year. It is a low bar. But of course, you know why I'm interested in this thing. The theories. Sure, I can go around.
The
all
ghost
day and
really
theory
made me
full
mad
cans
throughout
that
that
make it
whole
seem like an
game.
overzealous
That was the only thing that
derby.
made me mad about
There's
Dark
no meat on the
Revival.
bone for us to chew on like a
Getting jump scared every
cartoonish
5
waffle, and
minutes,
this one's
bro.
gonna get relegated to my ever-growing list of Map Pat personal time games. Lucky for us, though, Bendy be bringing the lore.
Look at Henry giving us all this important lore.
A lot of lore.
From what I gather, it exists in parallel with the outside world, but completely removed from the march of time.
A lot. It just keeps coming. Lore
Yeah.
that I think is a complete lie. A lie that I plan on
A
exposing
lie?
today.
Open your eyes and
Huh? Oh, wait. No, it's just a theory, but huh?
Let me quickly catch you up with what you need to know. The original game, Bendy and the Ink Machine, was all about a talented animator named Henry Stein, former partner to the unscrupulous businessman Joey Drew. Over the course of that first game, we learned that Joey Drew has used human souls to fuel the titular ink machine.
Human
all in
souls?
an attempt to create living ink creatures. But eventually, the animation studio goes bankrupt. Joey retires in disgrace, a bitter old man, and is ultimately forced to sell off the rights to his most famous characters to a new company, Archgate Films, run by Joey's old friend, Nathan Arch. And that's where this new game picks up. In Bendy and the Dark Revival, we play as Audrey, a young animator for Archgate who gets brought into the ink world by the clearly evil janitor Wilson.
You're working late tonight.
Yeah, very,
A girl like you shouldn't be
very evil looking too.
all by yourself. Mind if I step in?
Seriously, this man is a walking, talking HR violation. They couldn't have made him any more dastardly if they had given him a black cape and a curly mustache. Anyway,
That's
the
what
rest
I'm
of the game is
saying.
then spent with Audrey trying to find her way back home, all while avoiding both Wilson's army and the demonic ink demon himself, a monstrous, bloodthirsty form of Bendy that kills on contact. Or, at least that would have been what the game was all about, had it not been for the surprise cameo of a familiar face in Chapter 3.
Who are you?
Well, a pencil in a dream, child support doesn't exist.
Aren't you?
Joey Drew in the flesh.
At a couple of points throughout the game, we encounter an inky version of Joey Drew himself, or at least an embodiment of his memories, who sits us down to take us through a literal slideshow of the game's lore.
Where are we?
A very old place, full of memory.
Eye candy for Matt Pat, I bet, with all the story going on.
Time, Audrey. There was a bitter old man.
All right, well, it doesn't get much more straightforward than that. As part of the presentation, he tells us that the Henry we played as in the first game wasn't Henry at all, but rather an inky recreation that Joey made after the real Henry left the studio. Why would he do such a
So
weird
that's
thing?
what-
Well, he
that's
wanted
the
to
fake
torture
Henry he
Henry, get his
mentioned.
stress out, kind of like a sepia-toned voodoo doll.
In his anger, Joey used an evil machine to create another world. A world made of paper.
So it was like referring to the whole first thing. I didn't realize that when I first heard it.
He felt betrayed by Henry, so as a totally healthy way of dealing with his anger and jealousy, he created this inky prison in order to punish anyone who ever crossed him. The world that we've been playing through in both of these games, simply known as the Cycle. Eventually, Allison Pendle, the second voice of Alice Angel from the first game, comes into Joey's life and makes him realize that he can be a good person.
She didn't visit often, but when she did, she saw something good in Joey.
I love that face of Joey.
Including himself. Through their friendship,
He looks so intrigued.
he see the world with better eyes.
So, out of kindness, he creates a version of Alice Angel in the Cycle to help Henry survive. Meanwhile, in the real
Okay.
world, Joey is also busy creating Audrey out of the ink to become his perfect daughter. That's right, the character that we've been playing as for the entire game is none other than Audrey Drew, a human made out of living ink. Joey finally did what he set out to do, creating the perfect life from just a pencil and a dream.
Bruh.
That's what a dream. That's not enough. You have to have heart.
It's a nice story, and
Jeez.
certainly a wholesome character
cutoff.
for our dear old Joey Drew, but call me suspicious whenever a game literally sits me down and spells out the
You
lore.
never get away from Among
the
Us.
original
You
game was
can't.
practically built around theories.
What we have done is left it up to the community.
By the way, let me know if you guys want more Among Us
Play
VR.
the game, and your name is Matt Pat, and you like to theorize. There's a chance you're going to figure things out and actually be able to understand what we were talking about.
And also, let's just take a minute to look at who's info dumping this lore on us. The living embodiment of Joey Drew's memories. Oh sure, he might seem all nice and folksy, but remember, this is a guy who has never been trustworthy. On company records, Bendy is listed as his creation, despite the fact that
This is my original OC,
he also
don't
lied to his
steal.
employees when the company was about to go out of business.
The idea that the company is in some form of financial difficulty is untrue. And the slander
I mean, there's a candle right next to a record. So, yeah, there's no proper lights.
Joey is so good at storytelling that even when he tells you it's not real, you can forget a moment later. I mean, this is a guy who is so jealous and bitter that he literally creates an endless torture chamber for his former business partner. And we're expected to trust his version of events? Events that make him seem like some sort of benevolent family man? No, I don't think so. So
Yeah.
I started to dig around in Joey's story. And let me tell you, there's evidence hidden all around the cycle proving that Joey's version of events is a lie. A lie that throws into question everything that we know about the main character, Audrey. The true story of Bendy and the Dark Revival is one that Joey doesn't want you to know about. So grab yourself
Oh,
a
wow, the
pencil,
Joey
a
Drew's about to
dream,
kill you is
and
crazy.
something to write on too. Just
Why
try
is
not
the
to get
cat
any corrupted
spinning?
ink on the carpets, all right? Just got them all washed. Speaking of things that you can wash, this is your final reminder that Theoryware holiday merch is
Go check it out. I like to always promote whatever people's promoting in their videos since I'm reacting to them.
Because then you're gonna fund yourself an ink machine to. Let's start with it. Walked into his proving what Joey probably
Alright.
order if you're interested. Alright,
Alright, there we
back
go,
to
there we go.
Bendy. Let's start by
We out
disproving what
here.
Joey Drew tells us, starting with the timeline of events. Joey claims that Allison Pendle walked into his life and changed everything, giving him a new lease on life and in turn prompting him to help Henry within the cycle. Except we know that that can't be true. The dates don't line up. Allison joined Joey Drew Studios sometime in the 1930s. That means that the cycle would have been created prior to that date. Why is that a problem? Well, it's because we have evidence that shows Henry begins his cycle in 1963. This is
What the
thanks to a letter
hell?
that we get right at the start of Bendy and the Ink Machine, inviting Henry back to the studio 30 years after he left the company, which thanks to the employee handbook we know was 1930. There's also a calendar in Joey's apartment at the end of chapter 5 in Bendy and the Ink Machine that shows the exact date to be August 31st, 1963. Now, there's speculation out there about whether Joey's apartment and old Joey here in the ending of that game are meant to be part of Henry's cycle, aka part of the fake world that was made by Joey, but even if it is fake, why would you include a calendar from some random date in the future? Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Speaking of things that don't add up, what about Allison
How can you
Angel?
even see
Joey's
1960?
pretty
I
vague
couldn't
about her
even see
creation,
nothing. He
but
just
it
circled
leads us to
it.
believe that she was created purely from ink, inspired by Allison Pendle, but not made from Allison Pendle. Except here's the thing, Joey and Allison break off their relationship in 1946. He fires her after she sides with her future husband and gent engineer, Thomas. Joey does keep in touch with Allison, as we see from the letter in his apartment, but he burnt that bridge. She is no longer an angel to him, or even really
Dang.
a friend. So why would he then make an angel to help Henry in the 1960s that was just inspired by her? It doesn't make sense based on the timeline. I suspect that Allison
Grief?
Angel's creation was
Sadness?
meant to punish her as well. That instead of her being just
Oh.
an ink creation, he took
Maybe he
the
misses
original
her?
Allison Pendle and used her soul to create Allison Angel. Now he's able to torture her for all eternity, just like he did with Henry. Joey is no hero. He never was a hero. He didn't have a change of heart. It's all about public image, just like we saw in one of the tapes from the first game.
I believe there's something special in all.
I remember this tape.
You can conquer even your biggest challenges. Okay, let's stop right there. I can only do so many takes in this trashy day.
Of course, a living
Okay, maybe I don't
version of
remember
his
that
memories
last
is
part.
painted
What the
as a
heck?
good guy. He never sees himself as wrong. But in reality, Joey is just putting a new spin on the chain of events in order to come out looking like the good guy to his daughter. His daughter. The one part of Joey's story that I haven't addressed yet. Who or what is Audrey? According to Joey, she's also a child of the ink. Perfect. Practically human, made to fill the void in Joey's life. Now, I think part of what Joey's saying here is true. She is an ink person. It's hard to deny that based on her Bendy.
I love that
game,
description.
the fact that she
Ink
respawns
person.
out of the ink. But what I don't believe is that she's made purely out of ink. On the contrary, I think that she was made using human souls, just like every other ink character in the series. And better yet, I know exactly who was used to make her. It's all thanks to 10 secret memories hidden throughout the game. One of the main collectibles that you can find on your adventure are memories. 10 items that we're told are special, but don't really seem to be. A baseball, hat, a duck, a hot dog, some crayons, stuff like that. Audrey never says anything about them, and their descriptions tend to be super generic. A rubber duck. It still has soap on it.
Oh, I seen that
Wow,
one.
you're really lighting the lore on fire with that one, guys. Or so I thought. You see, these items are the key to solving the mystery of who Audrey really is. So hold on to your hats, because the first memory I want to talk about is, well,
The hat?
One of the memories is listed as a men's fashionable hat. So that makes it clear that the hat didn't belong to Audrey, but rather someone she spent a lot of time with. Now, this type of hat is called a boater hat, with a flat top, thin circular rim, and ribbon around the middle. Boater hats were seen throughout the late 19th century and early 20th century, even being part of the FBI's unofficial uniform back in the day. But we mostly see these hats being worn amongst the upper classes in the summers after World War I.
So like Cole Phelps and L.A. Noir, he's got that same hat too.
Notice the problem with that? Well, as we've established, Audrey was created sometime in the 1960s. Styles had changed, and the boater hat wasn't really fashionable anymore. Especially
Cringe.
not out and about for daily use like the
I don't know if you've seen it because my camera was in the way.
It's more likely the memory of this hat belonged to someone who was around in the 1930s. So, are there any other memories that could help us narrow down the search for who this hat could belong to? Yes. One memory that really caught my attention was this one, the cracked mug. Quote, a cracked mug, lovingly repurposed into a plaything. It may be sad, but it still has life in it yet. This broken mug was turned into a toy, which feels like a weird gift to give your kid, but whatever. Here you go, Audrey. Love you so much. Take this sharp piece of porcelain and have at it. But this isn't the only time in the game that we see a cracked mug. When we're shown to our room in Chapter 5, creepy janitor Wilson has left a very specific book on our pillow. It's a story called The Mug and the Maiden, and it
Mug
stands
and the
out because
Maiden.
it is long. I mean, like, long. Some of the lore drops in this game are long, but here we're talking multi-page long. And if
Oh,
you
wow,
manage
that's
to read the whole
crazy.
thing, do you want to guess who the hero of the story is? A cracked mug. This is a story not connected to us, but Wilson. This is his storybook. This is his childhood toy. And that's not the only connection to Wilson either. Another memory we
What?
get is a set of crayons, most notably colored crayons. Quote, arrays of colors can spark a world all your own. There are only a handful of times that we see color in this game.
And that's
all
where
of them
Wilson's
come
at.
From Wilson. Wilson is the one with a colored drawing of Ship Ahoy Dudley in a sepia world. During Wilson's boss fight, we see colored ink coming from him and the other enemies when we hit him. And finally, there's the towers that help to subdue Demon Bendy. Towers covered with colorful rainbow sparkles, just like the crayon's description. Right now, all signs seem to be pointing to these memories being connected to our antagonist, Wilson.
Why does this connect? But it seems so weird of a theory.
Impossible. When Audrey was created, Wilson was still alive, so it physically can't be him. But then who? Well, for an answer, look no further than this memory. A carton of milk for growing up strong and healthy. Add some chocolate for a snack enjoyed by both young and old. The use of the word old here suddenly opened my eyes to new possibilities. Just because Audrey was a child, it didn't mean that the soul that she was born from had to be. What if instead it was coming from a grown-up, a parent, someone who would have shared memories with their child? They would have seen a man wearing a boater hat. They would have given their child a toy based on their favorite book, crayons, for their child to play with. Audrey wasn't made with Wilson's soul, but rather the soul of one of Wilson's parents. And when you look into it, it becomes very clear which one it is. It's revealed in the game's final minutes that Nathan Arch, owner of Archgate Pictures and the Bendy IP, is Wilson's father.
As of 9 o'clock this morning, Bendy and all his little cartoon friends now belong to me.
This
That's
acquisition,
crazy.
according to an article on the Joey Drew Studio Archives, took place in 1972, only a year before the events of the Dark Revival. So the timeline for Nathan being the soul donor doesn't add up. He was still alive at the time. But you
This
know
old
who
man's
wasn't?
still kicking,
Wilson's
baby.
mother. In the spin-off title Boris and the Dark Survival, we get this clip from Joey Drew to Nathan Arch.
Hope this reaches you in South America. You and Tessa, enjoy your vacation.
Tessa Arch, wife to Nathan and
Wow.
mother to Wilson. She looked after Wilson. She would have seen her husband Nathan wearing that boater hat out and about in the 1930s or earlier. She would have given her son a cracked mug and a set of crayons. These are her memories. And the one that puts it all together is this, the final memory that you collect.
Hot dog?
Hot dog. Seems like nothing much, right? Wrong. In that same area of Wilson's lab, you
Wrong.
can find an audio recording from Nathan that says this.
I think I'll go home early today. Maybe I'll even pick up a hot dog for Tessa.
He brought a hot dog home for Tessa. That was a memory that they shared. A memory that Audrey now shares. In short, when Wilson's trying to kill you at the end of the game, what he's really doing, unintentionally, is trying to kill his own mother. Talk about your awkward Oedipus complex, right? In the end, Joey Drew turned to Nathan, his close friend during the financial collapse of his company.
It's been quite a struggle to put this into words, Nathan. Truth is, well, the studio is coming up a little short. If you could lend us the amount I mentioned in my last letter, it would be a big help to me.
But inevitably, this never came to pass. Nathan didn't help. Joey Drew Studios fell into bankruptcy, and Nathan picked the company's bones dry. Betrayed once again by someone that he thought was his friend, Joey, in true Joey fashion, did like he did with Henry and Allison before. He threw Tessa Arch into the machine. He turned her into ink. He would tear the Arch family apart in order to create a family of his own. He used Tessa's soul to create Audrey, and then he created a cover story to hide all of his misdeeds. A story that framed him as the good guy. Except now, we know the truth. Once a shyster, always a shyster. Whether you're made of ink or flesh. And see guys, this is why you can't have friends in the entertainment business. But hey, that's just a theory.
It sounds like sounds like a good theory. I mean, it definitely
This
did.
is your last reminder to
He's gonna promote his merch again. I mean, it does sound like it connects, but I don't know. What do you guys think about this theory in the comments down below? I'm pretty sure, like in every video, when I read the comments for MatPat videos, everyone's gonna call him crazy again. But I don't know. I mean, to me, it kind of sounds like it connects. I guess. Anyway, guys, if you guys want more MatPat, hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe for more Typical History Today, turn on all notifications, because in case if Project Playtime releases before midnight or after midnight, I'll stream it. So just keep your eyes on those notifications. I've been looking for it while I was recording, and it appears to have not released yet. So yeah. Alright, I'll see y'all later. Peace out. I'm trying to get this video out before it just drops on us suddenly.